How's my light?
It's
Is
good,
that
sir.
is all right? Yeah. You
Yes,
might
it's all right.
today I'm outside, so you might get to hear the birds. Enjoy. Here we go. Good afternoon, people and Tube. We welcome you. Welcome to Educational and IT Opportunities. My name is Tux Wellchild, CEO of Ace Professional CV Gods, um, and a few other businesses. It's my privilege to be bringing this to you today. There's so much to talk about. There was a particular video on WhatsApp. I think I'm going to play that at some point, and then basically analyze soft skills issues as missing in that video. Um, but to get on with it, let's talk about IT jobs. So IT is a big sector in the UK, and it's one of those sectors that has a whole lot of opportunities, and their jobs comes with sponsorship. But what you cannot do is you can't black your way into IT, because if they give you a software designer, a developer, or product designer kind of job, you have to perform. Lack of your performance will mean that, they're going to call you a bluff quite quickly. They'll spot it out that you're not fit for purpose. So people need to come with their skills. But let's get into it. So, innovation, talent, and culture. Why is the IT industry booming in the UK? It's booming because we have, you know, a very, very interesting sense of innovation, because you have a melting pot of so many cultures and religions coming together in the UK. Wonderful ecosystem. Also, you have lots of fantastic university accredited, long time known, and they've been known for what they do at Cambridge, Oxford, and all the other upcoming London Business School. The culture here, like I talked about,
Hello.
is diverse.
Hello.
Good evening.
I'm fine, sir. Good evening. Yes, I know it's Barrister Terry.
Okay, here we go. So, uh, Madam Tola wasn't talking to us then at that point. Exploring the popular IT fields. Now, in terms of IT fields, where are we saying is the juice? Where is the source at the moment? We're looking at data science with data analytics, cybersecurity, software development, AI, artificial intelligence. These things are massive in the UK at the minute. Entry level, you're looking around 35K and above to enter into these sectors. You're a top season expert, you're looking at somewhere between 70 to 90K or above, depending on what type of responsibilities you take, depending on other skills that you enhance yourself with, you may be able to earn above £100,000. Okay. So this is Ashika. We've seen Ashika talk about this. Um, they're fantastic stuff. I'm not going to really do much into Ashika today. I'm just going to ask people exactly what they think about the trend of, what do you call it? The trend of work in the UK. So, Madam Tosi, what do you think about IT in the UK? Do you think it's quite promising?
Um, I think it is quite promising, although I'm not in the UK, so I'm not in that environment. But the rate at which employers look for IT professionals makes it look like it's promising. And besides, it's the Western world, so if there's any part of the country that would actually like get or want to get more advanced, it will be them. So
Mm,
yes.
fabulous. Okay. Madam, Mr. Daniel, good evening, sir. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah. What do you think about IT industry? If you were to tell somebody, if you're advising somebody that's trying to come out of education and they're looking for what sector and they want to be, top wanted in the market, they don't want to be struggling for jobs. What sector would you advise them to go into? Would you suggest the IT sector in the UK?
Well, um, If the person is looking for a greener pasture, wants to travel abroad, that's on that case entirely. But if he wants to practice here in Nigeria, I would say IT job is very, very good, and it gives you so many leverages and you can grow. But if the person is looking for a greener pasture, wants to travel abroad,
Mm.
I have not seen anybody, people that I know one-on-one that actually traveled to UK because they got a IT job. I've not
Mm.
seen anybody. So,
Mm.
but I've known people that have traveled abroad, especially to UK for study,
Yeah.
and later they got into the IT job. So I
Mm.
don't know how easy. I think it's very, very tight getting opportunities in
The IT industry. It's very competitive because it's very good. That's why. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you now. So
Yeah.
that's just my view about IT jobs in the UK.
That's correct, sir. It's very competitive. It's quite high. I mean, you can really get into it. There's something that came up this week, and I wanted to kind of own into it. We've lost some time. There are people attacking people. There's a whole lot of misinformation. And if you are in the UK, I'm going to actually address it, but I'll play the video now shortly. I thank you everybody for response, Madam Tola. I haven't asked you a question. I'm noticing your environment. If you're cool to speak, let me know, please. Okay. Can you guys see my full screen, please?
Yes.
Because I'm not quite sure if am I sharing my desktop? I think I am. Okay. Now, can you see my screen right now, please?
Page on the browser.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to play this video. If you guys can see that, that's all right. Here we go.
That's fine. Let them take it. Let them get hold of me. If you then is not getting in the car.
You don't get it until the police come. The police are coming. Have you told the police? The police have to come. No. Let the police come.
Now, the situation here is you have people who are in the UK who are not able to look for jobs for themselves. We have literally grown-up people. You're in a country where you're supported by the charity. They have charities that are looking for jobs for you. You have people who have taken grants to train you up. You can even get paid to be trained. You leave all these opportunities, and you have people who are behaving like market people outside over something. You know, if you have an issue, there's the court system here. There's a way you solve issue, civil. You just deal with things in a correct manner. But here you go. Things are just chaotic. I wanted to ask, what is your view on it, Tosi?
I also just the same way you are saying it, so it's the way I'm saying it. It's highly unnecessary to behave this way, because I believe that there are a lot of opportunities out there, and if you behave this way, it just means that if the Home Office looks into this COS thing, it could just easily block other people's opportunity, really. So
Yeah.
both the IT people, the people that are even applying for jobs, and the UK might just totally cancel and say, you said, you know what, don't employ people from outside the country again, just because this
I mean,
is actually
100%. 100%. Everything you're saying is 100%. Imagine there was a war and you give food and you find people where the food is that you've given, and you find them fighting, and you realize that the aid you're giving is that instead of settling people down, is propelling them into a serious fight, violence. Do you think you'll continue to give food to help the people, or you just need to just stop it?
Yeah, you have to stop it for a while until they're able to control themselves.
This is correct. I do not know whether you guys have heard of. UK has a problem with their border near France. They have they call it Calais border, where people come to from France or come to also via boats and stuff from Morocco and all. They always have these problems of people coming through. Now, the funny thing is, humans have an unlimited potential if they tap into it. The people coming and they're getting, it's not easy for me to say, and I'm not inhuman. But if these people were trained, if these people were skilled, and they had lots of opportunities here waiting for them, it would be the other way around. They will not come in a boat that has a chance of capsizing. What will happen is those people will come on a plane ticket, flown in a business class. They'll have their house waiting for them. They'll have their car waiting for them. They'll have somebody at the airport to pick them up. The whole thing would be different. But some people don't understand that could be their experience, where when you land at the airport, they come and pick you up and they take you to your place and they welcome you, and you get to your work and they throw a party to welcome you, and people give you fantastic hospitality. This life is not far from possible, but people choose not to understand. I mean, I did some research into how long does it take to develop some skills. People have sharpened skills of complaining, but they have less skills of what people actually need, what the market actually needs. I'm going to move away from the negative news because it's unlike me anyway. I'm going to focus more into what we are saying, what we're talking about today. Okay, I just need to close this here. Okay. So there's so much opportunities. If you listen to Ashika, you would be blown away. This is just one sector. You have the education, you have the finance, you have legal, you have construction, the opportunities. Now, recently, the same Home Office has just opened opportunities for construction workers around the world. If you have construction work, let's imagine you're an interior decorator and you're very good at what you do and you have a portfolio. It's a case of getting information and getting how to access the opportunity. It's not a case of people coming and acting as though they're unruly and pulling each other out. This is not the environment like that, because it has a very bad impact on so many other things beyond even the visa world. If you look in the society and some people are not respecting societal values, people will look down on them and it will become a notion that this is how these people behave. And that's how comes if you follow the news, if you look at America, there are so many other races in America. But what happens is a particular race feels that they've been targeted and they get picked on. It's because they keep painting themselves as gangbangers, holding guns and stuff. I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. I'm just saying, make it easy, create a foundation where it's easy for people to look for you and give you £1 million, rather than it's easy for people to draw out their weapon when they see you. Make it easy. This thing isn't so hard. It's not, out there. It's something that people can do. The same people who have the capacity to complain have the capacity to develop their skills. It's so phenomenal. Tola, what was your take on that?
Okay, on the video, sir, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you and Tosin as to the method of handling situation, because it's just like a particular interview that a guy did one time that created trouble for Nigerians.
Yes.
So I believe that there is a better way we can't just react to situation. We need to always look at the bigger picture because I can see in the comments somebody mentioning that you should take down this video so that it's not going to cause something or something like that. So I think that we should always, there's a better way to be hacked. However, I may understand their position considering the fact that somebody sold them a COS without job, then blocked them, and they're not able to access that person. And only God knows the desperation they left Nigeria with, and the fact that maybe that's their only hope, and they don't know what to do considering it's a foreign land. I think, humanly speaking, anyone would want to overreact because you are in a new country, you've been sold something fake, you don't know where to start from, you don't know how to pick yourself up and all. So I empathize with their situation, and I empathize with I empathize with their situation, because I don't think I don't know if how I will be able to handle it if I'm in the same shoes that they are currently having, being in a foreign land and being sold fake things. However, I think it's still, as a Black person, we have a natural disposition to. I know we are getting better. We are definitely getting better, but we have a natural. We are naturally just, we have a way, we respond to situation. Even our mothers sometimes, and even here in Nigeria, we see it, two professionals fighting on Formula Bridge, and their reaction is, very, very, very damning. So why their reaction can cost a lot. But I also empathize with their situation. So that's my response.
Thank you, Tola. I was going to share with you. I don't think I've ever shared it in front of you. I was in a situation like this, the COS thing. I personally experienced this. It wasn't a person selling to me. I was offered sponsorship to come and teach in the UK. And I got here. And let me just show you how things could be managed. There's no one who cannot go through desperation, though I have family here and everything. But the people who promised me sponsorship for maybe 5 years, after 1 year, say no, they're not sponsoring me anymore. And it is not through any fault of my own. Every time I ask them for things throughout the year, they keep promising me, they come to the end. Now they're cutting me off when I don't have lots of jobs are gone. I don't have lots of opportunity. My options are limited. Do you understand? If I wanted to behave like how the Nigerians are handling themselves, I do not think I could rise. I could even move in this environment. I don't think people would particularly see me as mentally stable. But I can tell you, I had to consider my age at the time. I had to consider several things: going to the military, working for a church, all the other things. There's options. There is never a point where you don't have options. There is options. But if you feel and say to yourself that you don't have option, you do not want to see it, you would end up in this situation where your desperation will go bigger. I think things happen to everybody, and we always have a choice to choose whether to decline in character or to use that as an opportunity to pause and reflect and review what the next options are. If it's not happened to people will know, but this particular thing has happened to me, where I had only 2 more days to stay in the country and I had to get a job, and I got a job. I did everything I could do. And I could tell you it wasn't easy, it wasn't funny. But the last thing I thought was to blame anybody or to go down and burn somebody's house. No, or pull anybody. No, all of those were out of the window. There were never options. The option was was constructive. You always have something in the glass. They always say glass is either half empty or you see it as half full. Now it's up to you where you're looking at it from. So it's really, really powerful how people see things. And, just to emphasize, to ask Mr. Daniel now, do you see that when I say to you that not just Nigeria, generally, people need soft skills. They need what we're doing. They may not agree, but every time I keep seeing it, even to the point where Tola is saying that somebody's commented on the person who's done the video. The person who's done the video does not know who he's harming, but he wants to get views. He's so into the world where he wants to get view, and at the risk. That was the same thing that guy did, the guy who went for the BBC interview. He wanted to get views, and in the name of getting views, they cancel all the opportunities for students to bring their families. This soft skills is huge. We need it. We need to always see beyond things. We need to understand emotional intelligence. We need to understand there's so many ways they could have gotten the best out of the person they feeling that duped them. They need to ask that person, so what do you have? So what can we make of the best? Those are the positive questions that they could ask. But if you're not asking those questions, if you take yourself to court and you take yourself to judicial system, you're going to drag each other. There are no winners. Everybody will lose.
They will send them home. The
They'll
people that
they'll
shouted,
send
they'll
them
go back
home.
home.
They'll find
The
the
lawyer,
woman.
the,
They'll find the woman.
Exactly.
She'll pay the fine. They'll close her business down. She loses. They
He
send
loses.
other people
The
home.
person that came. Yes,
They say,
because
now you don't have
automatically COS
jobs.
is
Yeah,
cancelled. Yes.
all of them. Yeah. So
Stupid.
imagine how stupid what they're doing is. If I report myself when I had 2 more days to leave, I said, well, I don't think there's anything reason to wait for 2 days. I'm not going to get any job. I said, well, you might start getting me on some kind of ticket, take me home. That's exactly what they're doing. Because they're reporting the person who's by law written to cover them to get here. So if that person is exposed, they are by default exposed. So it's a lack of taking your time to think, a lack of diplomacy, a whole lot of harassment. But I pray for them. I hope things go well. Just to look on the brighter side of things, you can see how Ashika is going to talk. Look at the way her eyes are popping, and she's going to talk about opportunities. Here we go.
Hi, guys. It's no surprise that tech has one of the biggest sources of recruitment in the UK that provides sponsorship. So if you work in tech, you're in luck. Not only do a lot of tech roles fall under the shortage occupation list, but they also pay more, and they also offer sponsorship more often than non-tech roles.
There you go. She's not kidding. They do pay more. I've had tech roles. I mean, we have people in our workplace that know they've been offered 80K straight. 80K is not money you come around over here. The average salary in the United Kingdom is around 29,000, 35,000 or so, even with inflation on top of it. So if you have somebody who's coming into a job, an industry, a country, and they're jumping straight to 80K, it's a lot of jump. And 80K they're making per year. If you're living in Liverpool, you're living somewhere outside London, you're soon going to get into your own property. You're soon going to have things settled for you very quickly. So it is big. I just don't know whether people pay attention,
Now, that being said, there are obviously some tech roles that are more in demand versus others, right? So for those of you who are studying and are unsure of what route to take, and for those of you who are already working in tech and are looking to move to the UK, this video is going to tell you what roles are in demand, what skills are in demand, and how much you can expect to get paid for these tech roles in the UK. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ashika, and on this channel, we talk about how you can move to the UK. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, now is an absolutely brilliant time to do it. Hit the subscribe button now and click on the bell icon for notifications. Okay, so as for some of the research done in the UK, these are the roles that are going to be most in demand in 2023. Data analysts, cloud or data architects, business analysts, .NET developers, data engineers, database administrators, and IT security. Now, apart from belonging to these roles, recruiters are very often looking for a certain set of skill sets, which you ideally need to mention in your CV. These are a combination of hard skill sets and soft skill sets.
Can I pause this video and ask, Auntie Tosin, if you're going to take an IT job, what job would you take?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. If you're going to take an IT job, what job would you take?
I already chose my job. I love the data analyst.
So let's imagine this was an interview. I'm an employer. I want to employ you for data analyst. I'm going to ask you that question. I want to see how quick you respond. I want to see energy. I want to see how, excited. I want you to bring the top, the top action, top performance Tosi to this interview. Ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hello, Auntie Tosi. If you're going to tell us which IT job you're going to take in the UK, which one would it be? Have I lost us in there? It looks like I have. Tosi, are you here? Tala, can you tell me your job? Whilst Tosi, we've lost Tosi. I think reception's taken away.
Honestly, because I'm not into IT, so sincerely speaking, maybe it's because it's not my area of interest. So I don't really know which one of them. They all have nice data analysts and all of that, but I don't honestly know because I don't know what they entail. I don't know the skills needed. It's not my area of interest, so to say. So I really don't know. I honestly do not know. So maybe when I pick an interest in one, I can say, oh yes, this is what I would like because of information that I have about.
Okay. Let's ask Mr. Daniel. Mr. Daniel, which one would you pick?
Yes, sir. I would pick a cloud engineer, a DevOps.
If I ask you, why would you pick that, sir?
Yes, I would pick that because I kind of have a flair for the DevOps, managing server, deploying applications, and my boss is currently a server engineer, and I really admire how he sort out issues on the server and gets things running. Whenever there is an issue, he's there to sort it, and yeah, they're highly sought for. Server engineers, the DevOps, they are highly sought for in the market. And I think I'm also in the line, and very soon I'll get there.
You get that. Excellent. So the reason I was asking those questions is basically some people might tune in at some point and they might want to pick up from interview skills. They might want to pick up from confidence. They might want to pick up from the actual hard skill, DevOps, that you're talking about. So it's people understanding that they need to develop their interview skills. They need to develop their skills in terms of IT. So it's not one and leave the other. It's all of them combined. So even as I was asking Madam Tosi, I couldn't get her to give me the answer, or she was telling me about it, but she didn't tell me so enthusiastic. So that kind of takes away the fire. If I was having a conversation, people will be missing. So Madam Tola was saying she wasn't sure. So when you have an opportunity, most importantly is always to grab them and sort out, what you're going to do afterwards, basically how you're going to go about it. But it's always good. It's always a good practice to have high spirits, to just take opportunities. I'm quite mindful of the time running tonight, and I have no intention of going over Ashika's. Ashika's video is fantastic. If you've seen what we've done in the past, you can always go there. Okay.
Hi, guys.
Let's go on. So Google, Amazon, Facebook, and IBM are companies that are employing, and it's a place to start. So key things in terms of hard skills and soft skills. So say skills generally, you have programming, Python, Java, C++, and you have communication skills in terms of soft skills, project management in terms of seeing things from conception and taking it all the way to delivery. So you have agile methodology, Scrum certifications are all a plus. They're fantastic. So these are entry-level salary, experience, senior level positions. Fantastic. Future, of work. What do we suspect is going to be the work in the future? We have more remote work coming up. We have automation, so more like server engineers can work from anywhere where they're controlling their server and monitoring what's going on their server. And you have green IT. The focus of sustainability is expected to lead more investments in the green IT. So you have all those countries into that are talking about, like I think Saudi, they have a green city coming up over there. Now, these are jobs I just went through, different jobs on different websites. Now, there's lots of jobs, but again, in those places we're talking about, if you were this developed, anybody was this developed, they will not find themselves on a screen complaining about COS, because you would have a house. I remember people who were getting an R8, Audi R8, and with 360 pounds house with swimming pool, just because of the type of IT job that they did. So the offers exist. If you're really sorted after and you've equipped yourself, fantastic, voila to you. Now, here we go on education. If you're a maths, if you're a science teacher, you can expect you be in high demand. I'm doing references for maths teachers at the moment. Visas for teaching in the UK, EU citizenship, UK Tier 5 visa, youth mobility skills, just like how we're talking about COS. This used to be for Nigerians and Ghanaians back in the days, but now I hear they've been cancelled. We don't qualify for youth mobility visa anymore. I met a lot of people who came in with this visa. It was so easy. The criteria was so soft, no problem. But nowadays, people don't have that opportunity anymore. So it's gone out the window. I pray that COS don't have the same kind of a pathway. So here we go. Point-based immigration system.
Hello.
You can, hello, welcome back. You can acquire visa through point-based immigration
I'm
system.
so sorry, my network just popped out. It was quite windy here.
It's fine. It's fine. You're okay. Thank you for telling me, please. Thank you very much for apologizing. There are programs run by Department of Education where they can train teachers. Now, let me say, for example, in the education industry, if you finish with a certain grade in physics, in languages, they can pay you to teach. They can pay you to train to teach, even if you don't have a degree in education. They can give you a course for a whole year and pay you something close to £30,000 to become a teacher. So can you see that there is incentive for those people who have the right information and also know exactly where they're being sorted after? But if you are not in those circles, it would always be abysmal for you. You would always think the whole world's fighting against you. Visa for teaching the UK ancestry. Okay, so you're in teaching, you'll have grandparents, parents coming from the UK. You can get into teaching that way as well. So plan is important. It's not just important to make a plan, but it's also important to course correct. So I was just in a meeting prior to this, and I observed certain things that I thought could have been better. It's always important. There was a reason I asked the question about the IT. It's in what I find most people do underestimate is clarity. If you do not have clarity on the job that you want to do and the path you want to take, the chances are you're going to have more obstacles than you need to have. But if you have clarity, you're going to have more options ready, armed to be able to battle any barriers you come across on your route. So it's important to be clear from the onset. Our products that we give products such as CV, we give services such as interview skills, soft skills training, products such as personal statements that people need, and we give both. And in terms of teaching, we can help you either with your portfolio, your training, or both of them. We're back to this thing that comes up again. So workshop, training courses, CV services, these are the things that we do, right? Are your customers training? Are you interested in training and portfolio? Are you interested in both or portfolio only? we can support you with that at ACE. There's a reason I'm going through this thing quite quickly, because there's so much content, there's so much things to talk about. I'll go ahead and dream big and have complete faith that God will make everything possible to manifest your most wildest dream, your vivid imagination. Here we go. What is the process? The process is, we're just trying to be clear so there's nothing left in the clouds. The information meeting like we're having today, decision-making link, you can request for that via our website, or you can request for that from any of our social media handles. The next is the payment confirmation, and then the package. We will give you the package. We've got things set up in our systems so you can get the training, the job hunt, a visa application, and that's it. So once you've got the job, you've got your sponsorship, the visa application is straightforward. Knowledge attracts abundance when it's organized and intelligently directed through plans of action. So something that we've done, something that I have done, and I have trained myself, I don't see it as such a challenge for people to get sorted after. I don't see it as an impossible. It's not impossible, but I think people believe that that's just a difficult thing. Okay, I think we've come to the end of our presentation quite quickly. But there are some key things I wanted to talk about. There's some things I've noticed about clarity, but let me just ask, Madam Tola, how long do you think it takes for a person to develop a skill? Do you have an information on that?
For a person to develop a skill, sir, right?
Yes, please.
Well, I think it depends on a lot. I think, it depends. It's individual. For some people, it's depending on their IQ, depending on their upbringing, depending on their temperaments, depending on how fast the grasp bends. So I don't think there's one size fits for all when it comes to how long you can develop a skill. I think it depends on you. And also, I also think it depends on interest. Most of the times people are just pursuing certification. They just want certificate, but no content. So when you are interested in something, it actually inspires you. It's just like in law, when you're passionate or interested in something, you're able to give the needed focus for mastery to be able to get that thing. But when your interest is divided, or when you're not so sure what the skill is going to get you, or when you're doing it out of, I just want to get certificates, I just want to, so people can know I'm doing something, you may not quickly develop the skill needed, because development and achievement is proportionate to your interest. For you to get mastery in anything, your focus is very important. So that's on the other hand. So there's no one size fits for all. It just depends.
I thank you for that. Madam Tosin, what do you say? Mastery of a skill?
I actually agree with Tola, but I think I'm not sure of the time, but I think on the average, I think they always say something like 20 days or maybe a month or something like that. I'm not sure. But I agree with Tola, but there's always that common fact. I don't know if, maybe it's the fact I would say that is regularly spoken of, that you can master something within a particular number of days, all things being equal. But I can't remember the days. I think it's 20 days or less.
Fantastic. Mr. Daniel, what do you say, sir?
Regarding that, I'm of the opinion that mastery has to do with interest. When you have interest in the subject, when you have interest in it, then we can follow through and get it done within the time limit, within a record time limit. Let me put it that way. But there are factors that can come in that will drag things a little. Like, say your tutor is very bad, you know, and also there are a lot of barriers that can come in. But the major factor in this thing is interest. Once you have interest in it, then we're able to achieve it. It's just interest. Same thing
Mm,
goes to IT. IT
mm,
has to do with interest. Nobody can force it on you. If you
mm,
don't have the interest,
mm.
spend millions on it. You'll just be on the surface. You won't just get deep into it. So interest is big when it comes to mastery to me.
Mm, fantastic. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. What I was kind of leaning towards was, I don't know whether you've heard of the professor Anders Ericsson, who in 1993 came up with the idea that mastery needs 10,000 hours for a skill, that you have to take a skill and practice it for 10,000 hours before you call yourself a master at that skill. Now, when I go on my research, when I go over what is it today, today's world seems to change. There seems to be a lot of people calling his bluff and saying that, oh, you can master anything in 20 hours, you can master this and that. And I think it's just people looking for a quick read. We've come into the era of quickly say anything for captions. But the truth of the matter is, yes, you can learn a skill. Yes, you can be interested, but it will take a considerable amount of practice for you to own that skill. You know, if I was unwell and I had to get a surgery, and you have the surgeon that's above 10,000 hours and strong and quick, and, you know, I would believe that there will be so much experience, you know, expertise that they could bring to the surgery than just getting somebody who's learned everything from the internet and they want to come and work on the surgery. You know, I wouldn't risk my life like that. So in just the view of that kind of case study, I would say that I don't know what today is, because everywhere I look today, what the things that the laws that they're, you know, proposing is that you can learn things before 10,000 hours. But the where everybody falls short is their alternatives are not tested. They don't have evidence to back it up. If I'm going to go against the work of a professor, then I better then do a good a good survey, a good insight research, so that when I'm coming up, you can see what I'm saying is tangible, is backed up, it's scientific, it's fact-based. It's not that I'm just saying something because I want to sell a small book. It's ridiculous. So people attacking each other. This used to be the law. In fact, I made CV Gods based on the premise of 10,000 hours. So, for example, if I were to ask us now that, Tosin, what is your highest skill? Do you know it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many hours would you say you've more than done 10,000 hours over that particular skill?
Yeah, I can say that because it's just a part of me. So it's like you're always practicing, even consciously and unconsciously. I think that would have been my answer, though.
So it would just, I mean, if you were to learn throughout, if let's say you did something throughout the whole year, every day, you did it throughout the whole year. 10,000 hours is just 1 year and a few months. Let's say about 3 months. That's it. That's 10,000 hours. And that would be all it would take for you to become a master. But obviously we do different things in a day. So it would spread out. So let's say realistically in practice, action in that might take 2 years and a half. Now, if you've gone to university and you've studied and you've gotten your degree and we're expecting you're getting your master's, you've attained mastery in whatever field because of the number of times you practiced in that field.
I have a question though, sir.
Yeah, go on, please.
Yeah, because lately, we are like really exposed to the internet and we can see different people with different skills, really. And the one that surprises me the most is maybe like 2-year-olds or 1-year-old, no, 2-year-old, 3-year-old. I think 3-year-olds can speak, being a DJ.
like practice, like doing it as a professional, all of those things, like where do we put that? Because I realized that even kids that have been born these days, some of them are born with some supernatural abilities beyond our wildest dream that looks as though they might not be following the rules of those days. So where do we put that?
Well, you've already answered your question. If you say somebody is supernatural, they fall outside the limits of generalization. If you want to draw a chart, if you have some people who exhibit certain perspectives that they are really, really extraordinary, if you put them into the chart, they will be causing an anomaly. You'll be calling their results outliers. They'll either be so superior, like some people, like for example, if I were to say some things that can be very challenging, I'll say people who are autistic can have incredible skill when it comes to memory, remembering things, either mathematical or artistic. So if you flow somebody who's highly autistic, if you flew them over a certain town, and you give them a canvas, they might draw all the picture of everything they saw whilst they were there. But somebody who doesn't have that, who's not on that spectrum, who's not the extreme, if you do the same, they might not have so much of a recollecting power. So it's almost like a balance. The things that make us awkward are the things that make us also supernatural. So you look at people like Elon Musk is awkward, Jeff Bezos awkward. They're not like friendly. They're not like proper antisocial. Bill Gates says things wrong. He's not like highly communicative, like the best when it comes to communication. But at the same time, they do certain things extraordinarily well. But when it comes to their weakness is also quite big, that you can see it, that whilst they're doing this is their strength, they're having this massive gap. Even Albert Einstein, when he was alive, he did so many formulas, did so many things, even Stephen Hawking, but still they were not, they couldn't keep up with other parts of the social world. They were not like Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, whilst being Marilyn Monroe, was not a great scientist like Brian Cox or, anybody else. She was just, you're good at certain fields. So I think mastery of a skill, if you start going to the extreme, I think you have to sacrifice certain things to become a master. But initial mastery, a couple of years, if you're focused and you have high interest, everything everybody else has said, fantastic, you will do it. You'll be incredible at it. I'm quite concerned about the level of my battery. So I want to thank you guys for today's session. Thank you. If you're on YouTube, we're streaming to YouTube. Because we're running out of battery, we're going to have to cut this short. There was lots of conversation I was going to talk about. But key things I'll say, take with you: clarity. Be very clear, be intentional, have your goals set every day, remind yourself, and go ahead and master it. Understand that it's only a year and a few months that it takes you intensely to master a particular skill. And you become a master of a skill, guess what? Your prizes, your asset goes up. Yeah. So you can build up a whole lot of assets in terms of your skill base in yourself, rather than expecting supports and stuff from elsewhere to fly to you. If you have all the skills and you have all the work in you, everybody will gravitate to you. Opportunities will gravitate to you. You would have to choose what you want. So I want to thank you very much for the time you spent with me. I want to thank you if you're watching this video. I hope this takes you somewhere new. I hope you take the clarity, the intentional, the goal practice. So there's a rule that we're doing, the goal practice, that I'll say you should do every day. Write the same goals, your goal, whatever you want to get in a year, write them in the plain book and open the page and write it. By the next 2-3 weeks, you won't need any reminder. Your goals will be coming to you. And when you achieve them, you'll be reducing the number of goals you need to write on a daily basis. So before you finish that whole book, you'll be surprised how much goals you've achieved. It's powerful. But anyway, I'll let you go. So thank you so much. I hope you've had a good evening. I don't have enough time to ask everybody what they've taken away. I hope you've taken something away. Okay. Have a very good evening. I'll speak to you guys.
Yes.
Take care. All
Bye,
right.
sir.
All right. Bye.